These mixed things are very important for the next stages. I think he tweeted that Grok 5 is going to be trained. I'm always against this perspective that AI is a bubble, and the governments back in 20th century was insane. I think that's why GPT-5 wasn't shocking. The AI companions and the sexualized robots might be.
Hey, come and step into the future. It's a tech revolution. Artificial intelligence. It's an AI movement. Tune into the show. Let's go. Time to start it up. This is next level. This is AGI with Arshia. Yeah, from robots to self-driving cars. AI is really here to stay. Join the conversation today. And we talking all the latest trends. Trust you don't want to miss a thing. It's an AI revolution. Talking robots and humans. Let's go. This is AGI with Arshia, AI Revolution. Let's go.
Alright, okay, let's go, man. EP6. Welcome to AGI with Arshia Podcast. This is the 6th episode, everyone. It's been a long time that I haven't been here, but I'm here with a lot of analysis, news, and etc. So thank you for watching this podcast. Make sure you subscribe, share your comments, and just let's dive into this episode. So I have a lot of topics that I want to talk about. It's like mostly in 4 categories. So first, we're going to dive into the LLMs and chatbot updates. We saw GPT-5 kind of was a failure. I don't want to say it like that because I like Sam Altman, but anyway, I think it was kind of a failure, but we're going to dive deep into that as well. So we have Grok 4, we have other LLMs from Meta and stories around that. And of course, after that, we're going to go through the startups and AI tech companies, signal news, like the Palantir or what godfather of AI, Jeffrey Hinton, said about maternal instinct and how we can control AI or prevent the P-doom or decrease the P-doom number that we can experience in the near future because of intelligent explosion, and the term singularity is basically here, and all of these stories we're going to talk about. So the third thing I want to talk about today is AI geopolitics. As you know me, or you probably don't know me because you're just watching this podcast for the first time, I'm from UK in London, and the AI action plan that has been released for the United Kingdom to be the leader in AI is very different approach compared to the one for United States, and we're going to compare those things: AI sovereignty, what is China and Russia are doing in the AI race to keep up the race, and etc. And of course, the last thing in the first part I want to talk about, it's the next wave of AI and tech revolution, the aerospace engineering and AI intersection in that area. Is what is going to happen with quantum ML and quantum AI, and the fact that one of the, I think, scientists and one of the institutions in Russia, in cooperation with United States, made the time reverse for 1 second using quantum AI, which is insane, like manipulating the laws of nature in quantum realm, which is promising in quantum AI. So I'm going to go through all those things, and of course we have a philosophical part which is like 15 to 20 minutes, and at the end of the day I'm going to talk about the memes. We're going to watch the memes and we're going to laugh, and that's basically one of my favorite parts. So stay tuned, make sure you subscribe, and if you haven't watched the other episodes, we have 5 other episodes. Make sure you watch those as well. Let's just go to this podcast. The first thing I want to talk about, man, is chatbots and LLMs. So GPT-5 was released maybe I think 2 weeks ago or maybe 10 days ago, and there was a lot of strengths point that I can point to regarding GPT-5. And it was, of course, the medical reasoning breakthroughs and the vibe coding, like front end coding, HTML and CSS, the fact that vibe coding is so accessible now to just use your natural language, use English, and be able to write a front end software that is not maybe the product that you can launch straight away, not now, but in the next 1 to 2 years, maybe yes, it could be the MVP that you can launch for your startup, for instance. So um, I think there has been a lot of improvements around vibe coding, and this was one of the promising points of GPT-5. I used it to create a game, a chess game, with the pieces each being one of the AI leaders and tech leaders in the world at the moment. But it didn't go through. I don't know, maybe my prompt was weak, because prompt engineering is a real deal. Like, if you know prompt engineering and you know how to prompt, and basically most companies and startups, when they produce their LLMs and they just release their LLMs, they have some guide for how to do prompt engineering, the steps to go through prompt engineering. So vibe coding was a positive aspect of GPT-5, I would say. And medical reasoning was the most important one, in my opinion. So if you have watched Sam Altman on the day that ChatGPT 5 was released, he talked with a cancer patient who has used GPT-5 to be able to understand the situation of having cancer, which is of course very hard for families to deal with. And GPT-5 was able to help her to understand her options, how to talk to doctor, and basically it was like a middleman between the patient and the doctor, which we want as a patient. Like, sometimes you get a result at night for your test from laboratory and you can't talk to a doctor until the morning, so you have been panicked or stressful and you need to talk to someone who's an expert. So you have an LLM now, you have GPT-5. And it's actually kind of funny, because I used it for my mom's laboratory test. My mom just had a test in hospital, and she sent me the results, and I didn't know those. Like, I have a background in biology, but I couldn't read all those things. And I saw somewhere that was written that H. pylori is positive. And I was like, man, what is H. pylori? Like, I don't know what is H. pylori. It sounds familiar because I have a biology background and I used to do like a biology Olympiad back in Iran. But I was kind of, confused about that. So I just went to my pro GPT-5 and I asked, hey man, like, this is the test for my mom. Of course, I have a consent to upload this to you. So let me know what is wrong with her. And GPT-5 was stunning. Like, it told me that, hey, H. pylori is a gram-negative bacteria. And for those who don't have any biology background, we have gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria. Gram-negative has 2 layers, and gram-positive has one thick layer, and gram-negative has a kind of pump between those small layers. So it is more tolerant to antibiotics. So it's harder to kill, basically, a gram-negative bacteria compared to gram-positive. And this is just the background for you guys who don't have any biology background. But anyway, so I said, okay, so my mom has a gram-negative bacteria called H. pylori. That's why it's positive in her test in her stomach. So what should we do? Like, what is the result that we are going to get from talking to a doctor tomorrow, which she has an appointment? And ChatGPT-5 was like, nothing, 99.9%, it's nothing, and you get antibiotics for 10 to 14 days, and it's going to go away. And I was like, oh man, I'm released. Like, I don't have stress about my mom anymore, because she's in Iran, I'm in London, I can't do anything really for her. So, and I talked to her and I explained, hey, GPT-5 is saying like this, and she said, oh, okay, I'm not worried anymore. And tomorrow, like the day after I talked to my mom that night, she went to a doctor, and the doctor prescribed the same antibiotics for the same amounts of days for my mom that ChatGPT was telling me at that night. I was like, whoa, GPT-5 is so powerful in medical reasoning and giving advice to patients. So for me, that was a lot of experience with medical reasoning and breakthroughs, and basically playing the role of a patient who wants to talk to someone, an expert, of course, a PhD level expert, but who doesn't have access to that person for a moment. So, of course, this was one of the points that I always say about GPT-5. Vibe coding was amazing. Agentic AI, like before GPT-5 was released, they released AI agents, ChatGPT agents. And of course, there is a reason, guys. I can see like they use agentic AI and AI agents, these terms interchangeably. They're not really going to be used interchangeably in a right way, because AI agents are autonomous bots that do things autonomously. But agentic AI does more than that. It can reason, it has aims. So basically, agentic AIs are all AI agents, but all AI agents are not agentic AI. So let's put it in that direction. Um, the other thing about GPT-5, which was a strong point, was the Gmail connection to be able to access your calendar, send you reminders, and this implementation of LLMs into our daily lives is massive, and it can help us to be more productive for sure. And this is a great aspect if you ask me. So, but regarding the benchmarks and comparison between GPT-5 and Grok 4, I have a diagram which I used Google Deep Search, Gemini Deep Search to research and produce this diagram. And of course, I use GPT-5 as well for those who are curious like me. Deepo, if you have the image comparison of benchmarks, Grok 4 and GPT-5, please pull that up. The first diagram, which is blue and red. So yes, as you can see, the differences between the benchmarks, like in most benchmarks, GPT-5 is far more better than Grok 4. No, it's not. It's actually not. You know why? Because the benchmarks are saturated. There is no like significant difference between Grok 4 and GPT-5. And Deepo, if you can pull the other picture, which is like blue, purple, dark background up, GPT-5 versus Grok 4 benchmarks by category. As you can see this picture, let's look at the benchmarks and the strengths and the differences in comparison between GPT-5 and Grok 4. For the reasoning part, humanity's last exam, which is the benchmark they use for reasoning, GPT-5 is like 42%, Grok 4 is like 23.4%. It's like double. Of course, in reasoning is better, for sure. GPT-5 is better than Grok 4. In education, that they use GPOA, and it's nearly the same, 89%, 86%. In coding benchmarks and SWE, WE is like 74% for GPT-5, 72% for Grok 4. In medical multimodal reasoning, for GPT-5 is 84.2%. And for Grok 4 is 51%. And you can see those asterisks, which means significance in statistical testing and comparison. So it's very obvious that in medical reasoning, as I said, with an example, with my own experience, GPT-5 is better than Grok 4. So that's the case. And of course, we have integration and safety, which Grok 4 is better than GPT-5. And if you look at the diagrams and the bar charts in the left, you can see that the differences are not that much because the benchmarks are kind of saturated. And I think that's why GPT-5 wasn't shocking. And that's why maybe I was disappointed when I saw GPT-5, because I wanted more from a term AGI. Like I wanted cognitive abilities, which Demis Hassabis always talks about. Like when it comes to AGI, my own perspective of AGI is not like getting better at benchmarks or do narrow tasks or maybe multimodal reasoning. No, for me, it's like having a cognitive abilities, at least in human levels. And of course, accumulation of all human cognitive abilities. For me, that's the definition of AGI. Of course, people have their own definitions, but for me, it's like that. Just let me know if you think it's wrong or right in the comment section below. Um, so that was GPT-5, and when GPT-5 was released, everyone was like, "Yeah, GPT-5 was released. It's AGI is here," and I was like, "Man, is it? Is it here?" I was like, "No, it's not. It's not, man." Like I was disappointed, and Polymarket was in the same side as me. So Polymarket reaction, Elon's reaction to GPT-5. Of course, he was trash talking OpenAI and GPT-5 all day long. But anyway, Deepo, if you have the screenshot of Elon's tweet saying Musk said that it's easy way to make money on Polymarket, on the AI models, on which company has the best model at the end of the August. So yes, that picture, Depot. And there's a other picture of Polymarket disappointment. Please pull the other chart of Polymarket disappointment, Depot. Is GPT-5 fell short of the hype. Before its launch, OpenAI was 75% favored to have the best AI model at the end of the August. After GPT-5 dropped, the number crashed to 8%. From 75 to 8%. Big drop, man, big drop. So that was basically Grok for GPT-5 comparison regarding the benchmarks and etc. And then Elon tweeted about Microsoft is going to be eaten by OpenAI. People, if you have the tweet from Elon Musk's on OpenAI eating Microsoft, pull that up, please. Yes, this one. So OpenAI is going to eat Microsoft alive. And who replied? Satya Nadella. People have been trying for 50 years, and that's the fun of it. Each day, you learn something new and innovate, partner, and compete. Excited for Grok 4 on Azure and looking forward to Grok 5. That was the Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella's response to Elon, who's saying OpenAI is going to eat Microsoft alive. It's like, because of course, Elon is going to use Microsoft Azure for Grok 5 deployment, which I think he tweeted that Grok 5 is going to be trained in the next month, so in September 2025. So this is the case. Regarding Grok 4 and what are the strengths of Grok 4 as one of the leading LLMs from XAI, one of them I think is test time compute. We have two concepts which I want to talk about here very quickly for you guys because it's important to know these and being familiar with these terms when you want to stay ahead and adapt yourself to this AI revolution. The first term is training versus test time compute. So we have something called training compute, which is the resources like GPUs and flops, floating point numbers per second, spent to train the model weights before deployment. We have something called test time compute or TTC, which is the resources used after the model is trained while it's actually answering your question and prompt. So basically, Grok 4 decides with this dynamic test time compute to spend how much compute in GPU on each question that you ask based on the hardship of question. Like if you ask a harder question, it decides, okay, I'm going to spend more GPUs and compute on this question because it's hard, it needs analysis, reasoning, etc. But if it's a typical question, like an information question from a resource, it's not going to use that much GPU and compute power because it's a waste of compute power to use for a simple question. And that is called the dynamic test time compute, which is one of the strong points of Grok 4, in my opinion. And it matters because of the accuracy boost, the cost efficiency, and scaling law hack. And of course, the Grok had update regarding Grok Imagine, which you can uh, produce animated clips like 6 to 15 seconds from just text or image prompts. And one of the spicy parts, like it has a spicy mode. And the kind of controversial part here is that like the difference between VO3 from Google, Sora from OpenAI, and the Grok Imagine, that Grok Imagine allows highly sexualized content to being produced, like the anime thing, uh, which is not surprising really. If you know Elon, Elon loves to be ironic, Elon loves to trash talk, Elon loves to be number one. Elon has a lot of specific characteristics to himself. So for me, it's not surprising. But if I want to be honest, when I see something very um, revolutionary, a revolutionary product from Elon Musk, it's not when he talk trash or he jokes around. When he's serious and very focused on his mission, we see a revolutionary product. When he's ironic, I can't tell if it's going to be a good product or not, but it's a trend for sure. It's a trend on X. If you look up X, you can see the anime, sexualized anime, all over the X. So that's the part here. So that was my takeaway on LLMs and chatbots that released GPT-5 from OpenAI and Grok from XAI. The next brief thing I want to talk about is something called prompt engineering, and all of you, of course, are familiar with. There is a method which I came across is called meta prompting, which is a method for live automation. So what is meta prompting? Imagine you're talking to a chatbot, but you're not sure if your prompt is strong or not. So what you do is you ask the LLM, hey, optimize my prompt. And then you use that optimized prompt to get the answer you wanted in the first place. And this is called meta prompting. I used this because I was not sure if my prompt was good enough to get an answer that I want. And I told the LLM, hey, optimize my prompt, man. He said, okay, this is the optimized prompt. And then I said, okay, use that prompt to give me the best answer that you can. And I got a better answer for sure. So this is called meta prompting. There are a lot of courses on prompt engineering in Coursera you can take. I think there is a course from Vanderbilt University. There is a yellow logo-ish thing. So make sure you work on this skill as well, because nowadays, like, there are a lot of job opportunities for prompt engineers in the market as well. The next thing I want to talk about here is Mark Zuckerberg, poaching AI talents. I think Mark Zuckerberg poached all the AI talents from OpenAI, which led to OpenAI giving $1.5 million bonuses to each employees, even the new employees. So basically, all the upcoming employees of OpenAI are going to be millionaires. I think they did that because they wanted to prevent talent poaching from a rich company like Meta. I think Mark Zuckerberg poached AI talents from Mira Murati's Machine Lab, Thinking Machine Lab, and Ilya Sutskever's Safe Superintelligence initiative. And of course, Meta acquired Scale AI for, I think, $14 billion. And Alexander Wang is now working there full time. So you might ask why Meta paid like $14 billion to acquire Scale AI. Because Scale AI doesn't produce LLMs. It produces the oil for the machine. What I mean by that? Basically, data is the new oil. And if you have a quality data, of course, if you have more data, you can train the model with more data, which is going to be better. But if you have more quality data, you have an edge, an advantage over your competitors in the market. So I think this is a shift on strategic, shift on perspective on how Meta wants to maybe get back to the tech AI race and lead the AI race. So this was one of the moves. And of course, I'm not saying poaching talents from other companies is ethical. And I don't think that ethics here is going to be the determinator on who's going to be the winner of this AI revolution. They just want to win no matter how. They want to win. They want to win very bad because they know the one that controls AI is going to control the future, probably 99.9%. So there's no ethics here because you might ask, okay, it's not ethical and etc. Do they really care about ethics? I'm not sure. There is a summary table depot on why Scale AI is a good thing and Scale AI's role on Meta's motivation to acquire Scale AI. So please pull that table up. As you can see in the table, of course, there's a data creation part, which is human verified annotations for vision, for robotics, for data, for etc. So we have AI safety and benchmarks like humanity's last exam, which is a specific part in evaluation and alignment. And of course, talents, like poaching the talents directly. Like imagine that you can have Alexander Wang joining your company and working for you. You take the shot, man. You take the shot. And this is what has happened here. What is the signal? I think Meta's AI vision is shifting to data-driven foundation. And data is very important in vision that they're trying to get with these Meta Ray-Ban glasses and these BCIs and all these interfaces to increase the output, the inputs that we can get as a human and the output that we can produce as a human. Because we humans we talk slowly and we may like board a robot in the future, like Optimus robots. Why? Because our output per second is too low for a robot to process. And that's why BCIs and brain computer interfaces and the bandwidths and all these things and glasses and the visions, these are very important. Of course, robotics is going to be very important. I'm going to talk about this in a sec, so just bear with me on that one. And for those who says, hey, it's not ethical to poach AI talents from other companies, there has been the same story between Apple and Adobe in 2000s. There was an email between Steve Jobs and the CEO of Apple at that time, I think who was Bruce Shizen, if I'm not wrong. Depot, if you can pull this screenshot for the email between Steve Jobs, the Apple, and Adobe. And here, Steve Jobs sent an email to Bruce, who was at that time the CEO of Adobe, and he's saying, hey, Adobe is recruiting from Apple. They have hired one person already and are calling a lot more. I have a standing policy, which means I have a value for myself. A standing policy with our recruiters that we don't recruit from Adobe. It seems you have a different policy. One of us must change our policy. Please let me know who, Steve. And the CEO of Adobe answers, hey, I thought we agreed not to recruit any senior level employees. But about the other employees, the junior ones, it's okay. And Steve said, okay, I'll tell our recruiters that they are free to approach any Adobe employee who is not a senior. Am I understanding your position correctly? And this means that these AI talent poaching is not for now. It has been around for a long time. It happened between Steve Jobs and Adobe back in 2000s, as you can see the email. And it happened between Mark Zuckerberg and OpenAI as well. So win at all costs. Ethics versus competitive survival. This is what we are talking about here. All right, so let's go to the other story I want to talk about. So let's go to the second part, startups, AI, tech companies, signal news to watch. So the first thing I want to talk about is about AI stocks. I have came across a platform called Markets Ventures Depot. If you can go to that website and pull that website for audience, Markets Ventures. It's a website that you can basically long short the private stocks. And you might ask, okay, but are private stocks public for me to buy? No, they're not. And you're not going to own your actual um private stock from that company. Like you're not going to own stock from OpenAI or um XAI because they're private. But basically, you're going to gamble. I don't like to use this word, but you're going to gamble. It's like poly market. You're going to gamble on whether the actual stock is going to rise or is going to fall in a short or long term. And it's like a poly market reaction, poly market kind of platform thing here. But for me, it was kind of like I always wanted to know like how you can, as someone who's not maybe a billionaire or millionaire yet, can go and own a private company. So you can't basically own a private company in that situation, but you can gamble if you have a scientific knowledge and you can analyze the market and you know what's going to happen with private stocks. You can go to this platform called Markets or Ventures and do that as well. It's not basically a promotion or a thing. It's just me telling my own experience. So don't take this granted as a professional like financial advice, and do your own research and take your own notes and do your homeworks. All right, so I think there has been some discussions around AI stocks being a bubble. Like Sam Altman said, hey, I think we suck with GPT-5. It was bad, like not bad, but it was not meeting the expectations. And VCs are pouring money into this AI competitive market, and they have high expectations. So it reminds me of the bubble in 90s. And I'm always against this perspective that AI is a bubble. AI is not a bubble, but I think AI stocks at the moment are bubble. And they might burst in this month, at the end of August, or in the first 2 weeks of September. One of the other reasons I would say this is because Palantir CEO Alex Carr sold 21% of his stocks, around $120 million. Why would you think Alex Carr of Palantir is going to sell his stocks? Because I think it's going to be a bubble for short term regarding stocks. So there's a screenshot of why did Palantir boss sell $120 million. Deepo, if you can pull that screenshot of Palantir CEO selling 21%, $120 million of his stocks. And as you can see the screenshot, the news is confirmed, and I think it signals the short-term AI stock being a bubble, but not in the long term. So in my opinion, again, it's not a financial advice, but in my opinion, be ready to enter the market, and I would do so. So that's about AI bubbles. Let's talk about OpenAI versus Elon Musk and the BCI race and the importance of BCI. As I said, I think it's very important that we invest on BCIs and brain-computer interfaces, the bandwidths, and the glasses like Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and the vision, the Apple Vision, and etc. Why? Because we humans are very slow, and of course, typing is very slow. Of course, if you have high-speed typing that's another whole conversation. But for the whole perspective, we are slow at talking, we are slow at typing, and the robots and the AIs are going to be bored. So to be able to keep the race with those artificial intelligence beings and entities, inorganic entities, we need to be able to upgrade ourselves. So we need BCIs, we need interfaces. And that's why I think Neuralink is one of the most important companies Elon's ever found. And that's why OpenAI has decided to join the BCI race and invest in a brain implant startup called Merge Labs. So, Deepo, if you can pull that up, the picture for the Merge Labs news, as you can see, OpenAI is um, investing in Merge Labs. It's basically a rival to Neuralink, and the company aims to develop high bandwidth brain-computer interfaces leveraging AI. In my opinion, OpenAI's plan after GPT-5 release was to claim that they have reached AGI level, and because in their partnership with Microsoft, it is written that, hey, if we reach AGI level, our partnership is ending. I think with GPT-5, they aim to, like they had this perspective to, hey, after GPT-5, it's going to be revolutionary and we're going to claim we reached AGI, so our partnership with Microsoft is going to end and we can maybe do IPO in 2026, in the first half of 2026. I think the GPT-5 disappointment and the high expectations of VCs delayed this plan for now. I think the probability of OpenAI being public in 2026 has decreased from maybe more than 50% to less than 30%. So still, it might go IPO, but I think it's delayed. It's delayed. And OpenAI tried to get along with the closed source claim and critics as well by releasing the open weight model for everyone to use, which was pretty powerful, to be honest. However, you have to know there's a difference between open weight and open source models. And Mark Anderson here is going to explain why these are two different terms. So, Deepo, if you can pull that video from Mark Anderson explaining the difference between open weights and open source here, pull that video up. Let's have a look.
Open weights is a loaded term. It uses the open term from open source, but of course with open source, the thing is you can actually read the code. With open weights, you have just a giant file full of numbers you can't really interpret. And what most of the open source open weights models don't have, including DeepSeek specifically, what they don't have is open data or open corpus. So you can't actually see the training data that went into them. And of course, most of the people building models are obscuring what that training data is in various ways. And when you get an open weight model, the good news is the software source is open. The good news is you can run it on your machine. You can verify that it doesn't phone home, but you don't actually know what's happening inside the weights. And so I think that is going to be a bigger and bigger issue, which is, okay, how the thing behaves. What has it actually been trained to do? And what restrictions or directives has it been given in the training that are embedded in the weights that you need to be able to see?
All right. So that's it, Deepo. As you can see, there's a difference between open weight and open source models. So open weight, it means that yes, as a developer, you can basically use that to develop your own models and build upon on that open weight model. But you can actually see the data that they have used or the process that they have used to train those weights. Those are not available on open weight models, but they are available on open source models. So I think this is a very important problem here, not just in the USA, but all around the world. Like they release their own models like DeepSeek, open weight, and all of these things, but they're not open source. So they don't know the agenda and the data that they have been trained on, the weights that have been trained on. And maybe that's why we have to go pure open source in a long term. But of course, it's going to be hard because everyone's going to say, hey, if we actually show our data to other competitors, like we're going to fall behind and all these things. So probably they're going to stay with open weight model, but you just have to know that it's not open source. You don't know the data source. You don't know how they trained the weights and what data they have used or what agenda they have implanted on those weights during training those models. So this is the thing here. And as I said, Sam Altman confirmed that GPT-5 screwed up and they need to spend trillions on data centers. And that's why maybe Elon building Colossus 2. Colossus 1 was powerful. Jensen Huang of NVIDIA said, man, the way that they have built Colossus in 14 days, it took 4 years for others to do that. So that was so powerful. And I think Grok has a chance of being the AGI according to Elon. So there's a tweet of Elon Musk, Deepo, if you can pull that tweet up, which says Colossus 2 built by XAI will be the world's first gigawatt AI training supercomputer. And I think in the comments section, Elon is answering to one of the questions that, hey, Grok 4 is going to be insane. Elon is saying it has a non-trivial chance of achieving AGI. So let's see. I mean, Elon is great. Elon is great at building things, and Elon has a sense of urgency. Like XAI started to work at maybe end of 2022, early 2023, and they basically could catch up with other competitors. OpenAI was working from 2016. So this is very impressive. But at the same time, Elon has overpromised a lot during the day. So there has been delays, but let's see. Let's see what's going to happen. Also, there's a tweet from Demis Hassabis calling the simulation is the future, and Elon confirming it. So Deepa, if you can pull that picture, up for Demis Hassabis saying simulations are the futures, and Elon saying perhaps the present too, and Demis saying yes. And this is what we need to find out with the help of AI. In other words, understanding the fundamental nature of reality. And Elon has been persistent on saying, hey, we are going to train the Grok from XAI from first based principles, like physical principles. And he has been he has been advocate of physics and mathematics, and physics being the reality and the answer to all the questions we have in this universe. So let's see what's going to happen. And of course, Starship 10 just went up, which is powerful. I think there's a tweet again from Elon Musk's vision. Deepa, pull that up. I've talked about this for a long time. I made a video about this. So Elon Musk tweet on his vision. He says, it's all part of broader vision and strategy. Starship 10 is launching. Grok 5 begins training next month, meaning September 2025. Tesla Autopilot also next month. Long-term strategy is compelling. Of course, he's a long-term player. Elon has been always a long-term player. You know, when I found that Elon is a long-term player, like I made sure of this when he just had a fight with Trump and he just left Doge, and he tweeted, hey, you're going to be the president of the United States for the next 3.5 years. But me, aka Elon Musk, is going to be around for the next 40 years. That means long-term vision and playing strategy. So, of course, Elon is a long-term player. There's no doubt around that. He's a genius, man, if I want to be honest. Also, there's another tweet of Elon predicting that Grok 4 is going to increase the birth rate. Deepo, if you can pull that video up on Grok 5 is going to increase the birth rate tweet from Elon Musk. Yes, that one. Thank you, Deepo. So he's saying AI is obviously gonna one-shot the human limbic system. That said, I predict counterintuitively that it will increase the birth rate. Mark my words. Also, we're going to program it that way, meaning they're going to program Grok that way. So, why, you might ask, AI is going to increase the birth rates? Well, there are a lot of factors. In the best case scenario, which is going to be the 80% scenario, AI is going to improve the GDP and is going to improve the economic stability, which means we're going to have high universal income, and we're not going to be worried about the living stuff, like having a house, a roof around your head, or food or clothes for your child, or all these basic human needs. That's what improved economic stability means. And AI is going to do that by attributing to the GDP of a society, of a country. So it means if you have if you have lower costs of living, you have high universal income, then you're like, why not? We're going to have children. So that's why it can increase the population and the birth rate in that case scenario. In the other case, of course, better healthcare and um, longevity increases, life expectancy increases, and the medicine increases and enhances the fertility treatments and parental care, the genetic screening. It makes it easier and safer for you to have a child, which is great. Like having children is like, for me, is like one of my, I wouldn't say dream, yeah, one of my dreams, man. Like, this is crazy. Having someone else, producing someone else, this is crazy. This is a valuable um thing to do in your life. Trust me. But you have to have insurance to be able to raise that child in a way that you want. And this automation and having the automated life and high productivity, probably you work less as an employee, like maybe 4 to 3 days a week. You don't need to work like 5 days a week. Bill Gates predicted this because we're going to automate jobs and economic stability, the balance, which I hate the term work-life balance as an entrepreneur, but it's good for most of the people who are in low or middle class society. So these are all the factors that why might Grok 5 increase the birth rate. But also you have to know that the AI companions and the sexualized robots might be the opposite factor of how and why we want to give birth and take the responsibility, because the society is like moving in a way that doesn't want to take the responsibility of their actions, let alone the taking the responsibility of another human being. So that's what is going to happen. Different factors, you have to know, you have to balance these factors, and you can argue on the comment section below and let me know what do you think about this one, whether AI is going to increase the birth rate or it will be the other way around. So let's see. But it's going to be good for Japan. Japan is extincting. The birth rate in Japan from 2000 to 2025 has been significantly decreased. If you have the chart depot for number of births in Japan, pull that up. As you can see, depot, pull that up, please. Yes, thank you. As you can see, the number of births in Japan has decreased dramatically. And this is not good. And AI may be, maybe the helping factor here. But at the same time, Japan has a good economic stability. So I can't see how AI is going to improve that part more to reach the point that, hey, like the Japanese people decide we're going to give birth more. And I'm not sure why the number of births in Japan has been decreasing. I don't know, maybe it's mental problems, maybe it's overworking. Something is wrong there. And AI maybe or hopefully can help in that way. So that was all the Elon Musk, OpenAI, and all the takeaway things from that story that I had. So the next one I want to talk about is a very short story. It's Perplexity buying Chrome. So Deepo, if you can pull that post up, I think Perplexity is buying Chrome. I think the bid was like $34 billion, which is kind of crazy because the critics say the offer is more than double the Perplexity's own valuation. And the view is like it's a publicity stunt ahead of the launching of its own browser called Comet. So we all know that Perplexity is a rival to Google, and it has a great shot of breaking the monopoly in the search engine monopoly of Google. But it needs capital, and maybe it's just a publicity stunt. Because, I mean, who's going to pay like double the amount of your own valuation? Like, maybe you're gathering VCs, or maybe the thing that Elon Musk did. Like, Elon Musk told Mark Zuckerberg, hey, we're going to buy OpenAI and we're going to offer $100 million bid together. That's how much he hates Sam Altman, unfortunately. I love both guys. I love both Sam Altman, who's very visionary and ambitious. And I mean, Elon is a legend. So here the same thing is happening. I don't think Google is going to I don't think that they're going to sell the browser. And I don't think there is any pressure from US state and the federal government on breaking the monopoly, because there's a monopoly law in US. If you are producing more than 50% of the need of the market, you're going to be like broken. It's because they like competitive markets, but that's not always the case, because they didn't do that with Nvidia. Instead, they got they put some tariff on Nvidia, and they got some money back from that to the government. Like, that's what Trump's administration has been trying to do with the companies who are basically a monopoly, like Nvidia. But I don't think Chrome is going to sell. Like, Google is not going to sell Chrome to Perplexity for sure. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure why they should do that. So it's not going to happen, in my opinion. The next story I have is a very interesting story, and that's the godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, talking about the AI danger as always. But this time he's talking about something very, very different, because he's always been like, we don't have any chance. But this time he's offering a solution that, hey, we might have chance. So Deepo, put that video up from Geoffrey Hinton talking about the solution to AI danger in the future. Pull that video up. Let's have a look.
Most of the AI experts believe that sometime in the next 5 to 20 years, we'll make AIs that are smarter than people. And they'll probably end up much smarter than people. And there's very few examples we know of smarter things being controlled by less smart things. In fact, pretty much the only example we know is a mother being controlled by her baby. To make that happen, evolution built maternal instincts into the mother. And if we don't do something like that with these alien beings that we're creating, we're going to be history.
Do you really believe? Do you still believe that 10 to 20% chance of AIs wiping out humans is possible?
Oh yes. If we can't figure out a solution to how we can still be around when they're much smarter than us and much more powerful than us,
so that's it.
We'll be toast.
Man, like, this is crazy. The solution that he offered is like, hey, there is no example in the nature that the being that is more intelligent is going to be controlled by a lower intelligent being. There is only one example, and that is the maternal instinct. Like, the mother is more intelligent than the baby, but she's very responsible of that baby, and she's taking care of that baby. So this is the solution he's offering. We have to implant this maternal instinct to the AI, which is more intelligent than us, and which is going to be more cognitively intelligent than us in the near future. So this blew my mind. Like, the man got a Nobel Prize for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a thinking that, like, I didn't know about this. I didn't have any idea of this example. But this is a solution. And I read an article like 2 months ago, Max Tegmark, the one who wrote one of my favorite books, and I always talk about, the Life 3.0, and the founder of a Life Institute, who's optimist, of course, and speciesist. The article was trying to say, hey, there is a model which we call oversight model, where the less intelligent being is controlling the more intelligent being. And there's a picture, Deepo, of that article, oversight simulations, LO modeling. Yes, pull that up, please. As you can see, guys, there is a model called oversight simulations in this article by Max Tegmark and the MIT colleagues of him, that suggests a model that in which the more intelligent being is going to be controlled by the less intelligent being. So it's a Houdini which is going to be controlled by a guard in this picture, as you can see. And of course, they could use mathematics to modelize the p-doom number, and basically they use the constant that it has been using for measuring the danger of atomic bomb back in 1940s. So they used the same method to calculate the PDOM number of AI dangers, and this was the solution, which I think this oversight model and the maternal instinct that Jeff Hinton is suggesting are the same approaches, and they are related, and they are very interesting, and they might be the only shot we got to be able to stay interesting in this universe. I think we are interesting, or maybe we are very self-satisfactory and we're arrogant beings. Maybe we're not, but I think we are. Like, the shot we have, other than this solution to survive in this universe, is because we have a willpower, and I think it's very rare. And there's a video on Sam Altman saying that our biology has edge over AI, even if an AI podcaster is going to be more intelligent than me, I'm going to be more interesting for you guys. Why? Because you care about human interactions and human emotions and all these basically, I wanted to say BS, but no, not BS. Deepo, if you can pull that video for Sam Altman believing that our biology edges over AI. Let's see that video.
Maybe there can be like an AI podcast host that is much better than you at asking interesting questions and engaging whatever. And I personally don't think that AI podcast host is likely to be more popular than you. People really care about other humans. This is like very deep. People want to know a little bit about your life story, what got you here. They want to be able to talk to other people about this shared sense of who you are. And there's like some cultural and social value in that. We are obsessed with other people. I think that's also like deep in our biology. And again, the earlier comment, you don't fight things that are deep in biology. I think it makes a ton of sense of why we would evolve that way, but here we are. We're going to keep caring about real people, and even if the AI podcast host is much smarter than you, it's very unlikely.
So what he's trying to say, as I said, because our biology is basically implanted in human interaction and caring about people's stories and lives. We love storytelling, and that's why the most important aspect of branding is storytelling. And this is why I think we have edge in our biology over AI, even though AI is going to be more smart. It's smarter than us already, I know, but cognitively, I mean. The next story I want to talk about is self-supervised learning computer vision model by Meta, SSL. There's a video on that one, Deepo. Let's just see the first 45 seconds of this video. Please pull that up for self-supervised learning model by Meta. It's on X. Let's have a look.
MetaFair presents Dino V3, self-supervised learning for vision at unprecedented scale. Dino V3 scales self-supervised learning for images to produce our strongest universal vision backbones. Rich, dense image features show impressive self-similarities with exceptional consistency in time. Dense features are aligned across objects and even across dramatic style changes. Building on these features takes just a few manual annotations.
All right, so as you could see, this computer vision model by Meta is very impressive, and it just released like a few days ago. And I think it's a like state-of-art computer vision model, which is trained with the SSL, as I said. It produces like high powerful image features, and it's very impressive. I think Meta is trying to cope with all these other competitors and stay relevant at this time. And let's see what's going to happen with this one. The other thing I want to talk about is a very interesting story for myself. xAI's internal founder left. A guy called Igor Bobuchich, which is a Russian, left for safety. Who is Igor Bobuchich? What are the ties to Lex Friedman or Russians? And he mentions Max Tegmark in the tweet as well. So let's read this tweet. Deepo, pull this tweet up. And just when I'm reading this, just go and scroll down so audience can see this tweet. Let me read this tweet for you. This is the tweet that he posted when he said he's leaving xAI. So Today was my last day at XAI, the company that I helped start with Elon Musk in 2023. I still remember the day I first met Elon. We talked for hours about AI and what the future might hold. We both felt that a new AI company with a different kind of mission was needed. Building AI that advances humanity has been my lifelong dream. My parents left the Russian Federation after the collapse of the USSR in the search of a better life. I think this is the same thing that happened to Lex Friedman. Like his parents left and they for a better life after the collapse of the USSR and the Russian Soviet Union. And there wasn't any stability at that time in Russia's economy. So this one, like Igor Babuchich and Lex Friedman, both left after USSR. And despite the hardship, my parents believed that human values were priceless, like courage, compassion, curiosity, and etc. As a child, I admired scientists like Richard Feynman and Max Planck, the one for quantum computing, who relentlessly pushed the frontiers of physics. He has PhD in physics from Kern. And he talked about, could AI develop a consistent theory of quantum gravity? Could AI prove the Riemann hypothesis? So basically his agenda is like, hey, I want to know the physics. I want to answer all these physical questions and questions regarding quantum AI and etc. and quantum mechanics with the help of AI. And he talks about, hey, it was hard to catch up with all these competitors, and Elon has a sense of urgency and he works very hard, and he thanks, of course, all the people in his tweets. And he says at the end paragraph, the end paragraph of that tweet, as I'm heading towards my next chapter, I'm inspired by how my parents emigrated to seek a better world for their children. Recently, I had a dinner with Max Tegmark, Life 3.0, founder of the Future of Life Institute. He showed me a photo of his young sons and asked me, how can we build AI safely to ensure that our children can flourish? I was deeply moved by this question. Earlier, he was working in DeepMind and OpenAI, and now he is founding the launch of Babashkin Ventures, which supports AI safety research and backs startups in AI and agentic systems that advance humanity and unlock the mysteries of our universe. So, as you can see in the tweet, if you go down deeper, I think Lex Friedman has commented on his tweet, and Elon Musk as well, to thank him for his attribution to XAI. And he's saying the singularity is near, but humanity's future is bright. So he's a great person and great founder, but haven't you asked this question when you are founding XAI? Like the safety issue? Like, wasn't the whole agenda of XAI was being worthy and truth-seeking and anti-woke AI and basically being safe AI and open source AI? So why you're leaving the whole startup that you founded with the one and only Elon Musk, and your agenda was all these safety things and truth things, and you're just announcing a launch of a venture to support AI safety research? This is weird. Maybe the sense of urgency of Elon is making him to less care about AI safety in short term to catch up with all the other competitors to win the race, as Yuval Noah Harari was saying in the conference that I attended like a year ago in London. I don't know, but this is weird to me. Like, this is not something that's typical. Like moving after the Socialist Republic Union of Russia failed and coming and going to like Germany, study physics at Kern, going to DeepMind, OpenAI, and then founding XAI for safety and truth-seeking AI, and then leaving XAI for founding a venture who invests in safety researchers. Like, why? Aren't you doing the same thing in XAI? What's going on? What has happened? Or maybe I'm just a maniac, or I don't know, like, this might be the case. So this was the story I wanted to talk about, which was very weird to me and very questionable at the moment. The next story is about SSI from Ilya Sutskever, which is a total mystery. I came across a tweet because I'm on all, like, I'm scoring the X all the time, and I came across a tweet from a person who says, Deepo, if you can pull the tweet for Ilya Sutskever tweet up, it says, hey, do you know that Ilya Sutskever's startup is still a mystery? Like, what's going on? $30 billion valuation, no product, no MVP. Man, I think he's building something, and I think they're going to announce it in the early 2026 or maybe the end of 2025. But I'm very curious about Thinking Machine Lab of Mira Murati and Ilya's startup. So let's see what's going to happen with these. The next controversial story is about Palantir and people's reaction to me supporting Palantir. First of all, Peter Thiel, who wrote my favorite book of all time, Zero to One, and you have to read this because this is the most important book I've ever read in my life around startups and everything. So Peter Thiel analogy on being a founder and invent things. Also, don't be a brokey like Tesla, because we knew Tesla was very smart, intelligent, innovator. He died alone in a motel all by himself without a penny. This is bad. So let's see this clip, Deepo. Please pull that clip up from Peter Thiel analogy on being a founder and don't be a brokey. Let's hear this, guys.
What's unusual about the tech industry in Silicon Valley is that the inventors are capturing anything at all. The history of innovation has been one where most of the people who invent things get nothing at all. And so the Wright brothers came up with the first airplane but didn't get rich. Or, even the original Edison versus Tesla. You could say Tesla was the greater inventor and that was the better way to go, but somehow Edison edged out Tesla. Most of innovation has actually not gone to the people who came up with things. You have to make money, you have to do two things. Number one, you have to create something of value for the world.
Exactly, that's it, Deepo. So if you're a founder or you want to be a founder, the way to be a founder and innovator and attribute to the society and the GDP of your country is you produce things and you find the need in the market and all these things, and you produce your MVP and you invent things which has, of course, which is a need for your product in the market, whether it's B2C, B2B, or B2G, which is harder, of course, to raise money on. And there are a lot of bureaucracy out there for B2G, which I'm going to talk about in a sec. But for now, if you want to be a founder, but make sure that you still have shares for you. Or if you want to exit your startup, know when to exit, because people exit and they sell the startup for like $2 billion. It's a unicorn. They don't get any money. They're still broke because they just diluted all the shares to raise money in each round. So try to get a share of what the valuable thing that you're building and you're attributing to society. This is his analogy, and I'm very in favor of this as well. There's a movie relates to Tesla versus Edison, which I highly recommend to watch. And Deepo, if you can, it's called Current War. Deepo, if you can pull the poster of that movie up, and this is very good. Like, this talks about Edison, Tesla, why Tesla was a brokey but more intelligent than Edison, and what happened to Edison, and all these things. This is a very good movie to watch if you are free, maybe tonight. So there is a very weird situation around Peter Thiel because in his recent interview with someone who I don't know, the interviewer asked him a question whether the humanity should survive or not, and it took 23 seconds for Peter Thiel to say yes. Let's have a look, Deepo. Peter Thiel responds to whether humanity would survive or not. Let's have a look.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
Yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in
Should the
this.
human race survive?
This is the guy that's basically running America from the back room.
Crazy, man. That's it, Deepo. It took him 23 seconds to answer this question of whether humanity should survive or not. In my opinion, man, he's a founder, he's an entrepreneur, he's a very genius person. Mostly it takes a long time for answering simple questions for someone who has been thinking on hard problems for a long time. So your brain works differently. And that's why I think he was thinking about all these reasons that why we are maybe harming the society and etc. So I don't think it's an evil thing. It's just him being him. Like Peter Thiel being Peter Thiel. And that's what I think. You might have a different perspective. You might see him as a threat because of all these allegations regarding the CIA and the Fed collaboration and the Palantir being a controversial company, having a B2G model, gathering data and all these things. So you might have a different perspective. I love Palantir and I say why. The other video I want to see about Palantir and Peter Thiel is all these antichrist area that he's talking about. And he's talking about a person called Greta Thunberg, which I'm going to explain who she is in a minute. So first, let's see this video. Deepo, if you can pull this video up around antichrist area Peter Thiel talking about. Let's have a look.
I think there's always a question, how do we articulate some of these existential risks, some of the challenges we have? And they're all framed in this sort of runaway dystopian science text. There's a risk of nuclear war. There's a risk of environmental disaster. But I always think that if we're going to have this frame of talking about existential risks, perhaps we should also talk about the risk of another type of a bad singularity, which I would describe as the one world totalitarian state. I've been wondering whether that's going from the frying pan into the fire. And so the atheist philosophical framing is one world or none. And the Christian framing, which in some ways is the same question, is Antichrist or Armageddon.
All right. So he talks about the fact that Antichrist thing. What is the Antichrist thing? So Peter Thiel argues that the real danger to humanity isn't a science or technology itself, but it's the people and the movements that try to halt the progress out of fear. He believes that the Antichrist, which is a metaphor for a destructive force, is not in our modern context, is not an evil scientist building bioweapons or a totalitarian AI. It's basically evil activists creating harmful technology. Why? Because these figures who convince a society to reject science and innovation, this is bad. And he talks about a person called Greta Thunberg. I didn't know her. Deepo, I have this screenshot of Greta Thunberg IG Instagram. Pull that for the audience to see who she is. Look at the bio. Look at the freaking bio of her. Autistic, bipolar, climate justice activist. What a great combination for your girlfriend. What is going on, man? Autistic, bipolar, climate justice activist. And he has 15 million followers. 15. So 15 million followers. Of who? Of a person who's actively saying, hey, I'm bipolar, I'm autistic, I'm a climate justice activist who says innovation is not good, technology is not good, AI is not good. We have to stop all these things. Who basically making this thing very normal for people to reject science, reject innovation. which can lead to the ossification of society if people reject science and innovation. This is a very dangerous thing. This is the real, if you ask me, who is the real antichrist of our modern world? Greta Thunberg is in my list. Greta Thunberg is in my list. I don't know who she is. I don't have any problem with her. I would like to talk to her. I would like to talk to everyone. I'm not someone who rejects people because they have different ideology than me. No. But this is a radical shit. Sorry for my language, but this is radical shit. This is the real antichrist. I completely agree with Peter Thiel on this one. Okay, recently I made a video on Palantir being a great startup and etc. People, if you can pull this screenshot of the thumbnail of my video, Tech is Dying and Axgar Palantir. This was my video, guys. If you haven't watched this, go watch it and read all the comment sections because it's very important. Those comments are very educative for you guys. So what happened? There are a lot of comments around that. Like people commenting things like this was one of the comments. Put the comment for the first one, Depot, which says, isn't this upside down? Palantir, a powerful Silicon Valley corporation who wish to dissolve democracy? And I'm answering, no, that's a valid concern. I'm not saying, hey, I'm not blinding supporting Palantir. I'm saying, hey, Palantir has a B2G model, and in this consumerism world of making video sharing apps or calorie apps. I'm not saying bad things about Cal AI, of course. The guy is a great founder, B2C model, amazing job. But those who dare to do B2G in this era is those who make national projects. And Palantir, Oracle, and all those who do B2G deals are very important because they have the courage to go through all this bureaucracy and the internal works with the government to do national projects rather than just producing consumer apps and just make money. And I think that's my ideology on Palantir. Of course, there was a concern on Big Brother, which is like a massive surveillance state, and the data is being collected and all these agendas. And yes, this is a concern. I know that. But I'm not blindly supporting Palantir. I'm just saying, hey, Palantir is a good deal. Because they dared to do B2G. They dared to... You know when Palantir has been found? Like, shortly after 9/11. The reason why one of the most important reasons why America is as strong as it is technologically regarding weapons and all these drones and things because of Palantir. So you have to be thankful to a person who dares to do B2G at these consumerism agenda among the Silicon Valley founders. Mark my word, this is going to be very important. And there's a video on this wokeness, and the woke AI made Elon give up the Mars plan. Depot, if you have the video on that one, woke AI in AI made Elon give up Mars plan in 2024. Let's have a look on that one, Depot. Let's see. Peter Thiel is talking about that. Let's see.
2024 is the year where Elon stopped believing in Mars, not as a silly science tech project, but as a political project. Mars was supposed to be a political project. It was building an alternative. And in 2024, Elon came to believe that if you went to Mars, the socialist US government, the woke AI, it would follow you to Mars. It was the Demis meeting with Elon that we brokered. He was doing deep mind. This was the rough conversation was Demis tells Elon, I'm working on the most important project in the world. I'm building a superhuman AI. And
wow. So basically Elon gave up this plan of going to Mars in 2024 because like if you go to Mars as a refugee from Earth, because woke AI is there and there's no other place for you to go. Woke AI is going to follow you, as Demis Hassabis was saying. So maybe that's why he elected Trump, like he helped the election of President Trump. In my opinion, President Trump wouldn't be elected without Elon. Elon spent 2 months in Pennsylvania and he just campaigned. He worked really, really hard to get him elected. I think he's a great president. Of course, there are some dark aspects regarding the Epstein files and overpromising of Ukraine-Russia war settling in the next 48 hours or 24 hours of the office. But let's just not get into that part here. But this is a real thing. That's why we have to avoid woke AI. That's why we have to build LLMs that are truth-seeking. And the only way that you can see that we have a real democracy in society is where that people say something that you don't like into your face and they can do so. And it's not illegal. That's how we can see, yes, democracy is real, because people with different ideologies can talk, not getting arrested like here in London. Trust me, this is bad. The next quick story I want to talk about is Chinese company developing the first robot with an artificial womb to carry a baby. So if you're a mom, maybe wait for 2026. Deepo pulled this picture up of this Chinese company developing the first robot with a womb. If you're a mom, look at this. Wait until 2026 and then give birth, because this one will help you to prevent all those sufferings and pains that you have and all those moments that you can't fit clothes into your body because you're pregnant. This is going to help you. Of course, it's amazing. Like these Chinese companies, I think it's $14,000. If you count all the things that you do as a mother who's pregnant, I think it's going to be more than $14,000. So for the husband who's listening, just don't make your wife pregnant. Or maybe for the man who's listening, don't make your husband pregnant, or all this shit that is going on in the world. I don't know. Guys, I don't want to get into those topics, man. Like, these shits are real. All right, Microsoft versus Macro Heart, Elon's new company. This is the last story in this part I want to talk about. So, Deepo, pull that post up for Microsoft versus Macro Heart. So, Elon decided that, hey, I'm going to find a company called Macro Heart because it's very hard to compete with Microsoft. So, Microsoft Macro Heart. And he's saying it's going to be a pure software company, and it's going to unleash hundreds of codings and generative AI agents and all these things to compete with Microsoft. The name, he's saying the name is serious. The name is ironic, but the project is serious. So let's see what he's going to do with Macro Heart. Elon is very ironic in naming companies, man, and naming his babies as well. I love X. Man, I missed X walking around in the White House. I think Barron Trump tweeted the same thing as I'm saying here. The next point I want to talk about is AI geopolitics and sovereign AI. So USA and UK has both AI action plans. They released those action plans. There has been some differences between the approaches that they have been taking. So United Kingdom action plan was like AI opportunities, and the America action plan was like, we're going to dominate the AI and kill China. Like that was the aim. There was a side-by-side comparison, Deepo, policy, mechanics, and geopolitics. So put that table up for the audience to see. As you can see, this table shows the differences between UK and USA action plans regarding AI. So regarding the regulatory posture, UK has been always pro-regulations, but USA wants to just use the all the resources that they have in the government and Fed to be able to compete with China and dominate the AI so it can stay as a superpower on Earth. The next thing is state capacity, which is for UK's UK AI Safety Institute remains focal for frontier and broader assurance push. And for compute and data centers, I think there are a lot of data centers and compute, like the Stargate project that has been going on in USA. Here in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer also announced that they're going to build power plants and all these data centers, and mostly for UK defense opportunities and cybersecurity, and also for training AI models as well. But all these things set aside, if you look at all the agendas and all the approaches that UK has been taking during the 20th century to regarding the atomic age, or maybe in 19th, 18th century regarding the Industrial Revolution, the approach was kind of different. Like, UK has been trying to stay relevant and be in the first, be like in the game, but they don't need to dominate. Like, they're not very dominant, but USA want to dominate, want to be China. UK want to stay relevant as a specific open hub for anyone who wants to come as a startup founder, or maybe a collaborative approach that Demis Hassabis has been always talk about. So this is the kind of approach that UK has been taking for a long time, not just for AI race, but for atomic age or maybe industrial revolution. Although Keir Starmer said that, hey, we don't want to be the AI, we don't want to import AI. We want to be the AI creator. But still, they're very selfish. They're very ignorant of not spending enough money or capital on startups here. So you can raise more money in Silicon Valley compared to UK. It's harder to raise money here as a founder. So maybe these approaches need to change. If Churchill was still alive, I would say that he was going to change this approach. But if I want to say the pattern, the whole pattern here is UK want to stay relevant as a friendly, collaborative AI hub for everyone to join. US want to dominate the AI. China wants to dominate as well. With their own chip, I think there's a chance of China, not in the Trump's presidency, but after Trump, maybe until 2003, it's going to invade Taiwan because of the TSMC dominance and monopoly here on chip, to be able to compete with USA on this one. And of course, we have Russia, which is very solely focused on weaponry, AI, and cyber defense capabilities. And there's a lack of strong foundation model ecosystem for Russia. Or maybe they're not announcing it. I don't know. They're so conservative, or some people call them dictators. But maybe I think they're military first and then other aspects for society and etc. And the whole EU, of course, France with Mistral AI, and they're trying to keep up with the race, but still US is dominating. So the overall signal is it's US-China axis and EU-UK trying to be trustworthy partner and stay relevant regarding the AI race. So this is my whole perspective on UK action plan, USA action plan, and the whole AI geopolitics and sovereign AI. Because I think it's very important to have a sovereign AI. What does sovereign AI mean? It means the AI of your own country. So you can stay reliant on your own technology, not the other ones that are coming from China, for example, if you are in USA or Europe. So that is the whole perspective here, to having the sovereign AI and achieving AI sovereignty. The other things I want to talk about regarding the AI geopolitics is the Intel story, which has been all around the news. And this is crazy because Intel went from bankruptcy and they stayed behind of this AI revolution. And Trump called the CEO to resign Intel. And then they collaborated with Trump's administration, and now US government owns 10% of Intel. And this is crazy. Like this movement from Friday to Monday, in 3 days, all these things happen. Trump is the most unpredictable leader I've ever seen in my life. It's not bad to be unpredictable, but I mean, for your partners, maybe sometimes it's very annoying. So Intel is great at pivoting. Like they have been great at pivoting their product line, etc. There's a screenshot that I asked ChatGPT, hey, give me a summary of Intel's major pivots in the history of the company. Deepo, if you can pull that video off for the summary of Intel's major pivots so we can have a look. So as you can see, there's one pivot regarding microprocessors and consumer brand PC, data centers, and AI. There's another screenshot, Deepo, of old focus, which was memory chips and all these things, and they changed it, and they could somehow figure this out to stay relevant in the game. But now 10% is owned by governments. There's a video on Trump talking about Intel. People pull that up video from Trump talking about Intel. Let's have a look.
I said, you know what? I think the United States should be given 10% of Intel. And he said, I would consider that. I said, well, I'd like you to do that because Intel has been left behind, as you know, compared to Jensen and some of our friends, NVIDIA, some of the people and the people in, because Intel should have never been. Intel was the biggest, most powerful chip company in the world. And then they started leaving. And they started going to foreign countries, in particular Taiwan. And if we had a president that would have said, okay, you can go to Taiwan, but we're going to put...
All right. So he's saying that, yeah, they have stayed behind. And the reason why we collaborated with Intel is because we don't want them to go to Taiwan. We want them to stay in the USA. And he's always trash talking the Biden administrations. And everyone was like, man, government paid $11 billion for 10% of the company, and why? And there's a Trump's tweet screenshot, Deepo, if you can pull that up. And he says, I paid $0 for Intel. It's worth approximately $11 billion. All goes to USA. Why are stupid people unhappy with that? I will make deal like that for our country all day long. I will also help those companies that make such lucrative deals with the United States. I love seeing their stock price go up, making the US richer and richer. More jobs for America. Who would not want to make deals like that? And I think this was the only Intel shot to not become bankrupt, because they stay behind, like compared to AMD and NVIDIA. So I think it's both win-win for Intel and Trump's administration. So it was a good deal, to be honest. Trump is a phenomenal good deal maker for sure. So there's a warning of Trump saying that they need to build power plants to beat China regarding AI geopolitics, and Musk also confirming that Chinese has more electricity and energy compared to USA, and that's why XAI is trying to build classes 2, and we're going to win this race. And besides us, Google is our main competitor. In my opinion, I don't think so, because you're just trash talking OpenAI all day long. So in my opinion, the XAI's main competitor is OpenAI, and OpenAI has been on the market, like I think more than 700 million users monthly, I guess, have been using ChatGPT, which is a huge amount, like 1/8 of Earth using ChatGPT. This is crazy, man. So there's a video, I think there's a video on Trump Depot talking about building power plants to beat China. Please pull that up for audience. Thank you.
We give in the right to build electric plants. They become almost like a public utility because we have old grids. We have a lot of stuff that's old. We wouldn't be able to compete with China AI. And now we're totally leading the AI race and the artificial intelligence. It's a big deal. And it's the hottest thing there is for probably in 35, 40 years. It's a lot of people don't know what it is. Just trust me, it's very hot. It's big. but they need massive
This is
amounts of
crazy, man.
electricity.
Yeah,
They need more
that's it. Of course, because as a oil, they need data to train their models. The other backbone is GPUs, NVIDIA, TSMC, AMD. The other one is electricity and energy. So they need power plants, they need data centers, and all these things. So these are the three main backbones of training any AI. So that's it. The last thing I want to talk about before going to the philosophical part of this episode, I want to talk about the next wave of AI and tech revolution. So there is a picture of levels of AI. Deeple, if you can pull that picture up, levels of AI for audience. So as you can see, there are 5 levels of AI. The first level was chatbots, and then reasoners. The third one is agents. Fourth is innovators, and level 5 are organizations. So now we are at level 3, agents. We have AI agents, we have agentic AI. The next one is innovators. Innovators are those AIs that can invent new things or maybe discover new theories in mathematics and physics and nature. And then we have organizations, which are AIs who can do the exact same job and more efficient or cost efficient and more productive than the whole startup or organization. So those are organizations AI or enterprise AI, I would say. So these are the levels that we are experiencing. We are now in the 3rd level. So from ANI to AGI to ASI. And this is the trend that is going on. And you might ask, like, what are the strong points, strong strengths of current LLMs? Of course, they have broad competence in different topics like coding, mathematics, and they have a good reasoning, understanding, and knowledge in PhD levels. And the tool used in the function, the RAG or retrieval augmented generation, which can reduce the hallucination problem, which still is relevant in AI because it's very weird. Like, I think someone asked ChatGPT a question, and after 43 seconds, ChatGPT was like, I don't know the answer. And Elon responded on X. What a powerful response. Very impressive. So I think there are a lot of parts around hallucinations that can be settled. It has been reduced dramatically, which is good, but still, these are the problems. And of course, mixture of architectures or MOE and open awaits momentum makes the model cheaper at interface, and it can accelerate the local experimentation and fine tuning as well. So these things are the strong points and strengths of these LLMs, the current LLMs. But what are the weak points? Like, what are the weaknesses of these architectural and behavioral challenges regarding these LLMs? In my opinion, it's symbolic reasoning, it's XAI or explainable AI, it's the hybrid models, which are going to be the future, in my opinion, the symbolic reasoning and explainable AI or XAI. These mixed things are very important for the next stages. Of course, the hallucinations need to be addressed, and still there's an evaluation gap for agents as well. So to be able to evaluate the answers that they are giving us. And of course, there's a factor of AI alignment, which in my opinion is not a very important thing, because I mean, it's important, but it's not very critical, because we as humans are not aligned with each other, with one another. How can we expect AI to align with our own values as a human? Like, we are, as a Homo sapiens, as a human beings, as a species, we are not aligned with one another in a society. How can we expect an inorganic entity and other beings, and alien beings and artificial beings, to be aligned with our own values? Of course, we have to train it. Of course, we have to spend a lot of money and time and energy and electricity on this one as well. So this is my opinion on this one. So what are going to be the future and what aspects of AI are going to be used in different fields, which is going to be fascinating. I think physical AI and robotics, man, is going to be the next wave of AI. Synthetic biology and physical AI and robotics are the next ones. Why? Because synthetic biology, neuroscience, computational neuroscience, and bioinformatics, gene sequencing, using 3D printing to print personalized medicine for drug discovery, or using quantum AI. I think math and physics are the most important subjects at the moment to study. I think Jensen Huang said it. I think Elon said it. It's very important. And then we come to the AI warfare, cybersecurity, some kind of Palantir's role, and AI in aerospace as well, like off-Earth autonomy is very important. I think Elon Musk needs to work with Trump and cooperate with Trump again. Why? Because approximately every 2 years, the Earth's orbit catches up to the Mars orbit. So Sun, Earth, and Mars orbits are aligned, and that's where is the best time to send Starship to Mars. There's a picture depot of this orbit alignment of Mars, Earth, and Sun. Please pull that up for audience. So as you can see, every 2 years, Sun and Earth orbit and Mars are going to be aligned, and that's the best time to send Starship to Mars. Do you think when do you think the next time is going to be the alignment of Mars and Earth's orbit? Deepo, pull the other screenshot of the time that is saying that, hey, the Mars and Earth's are going to be aligned. It's February 19 or 20 of 2027. So in my opinion, Elon is going to send the first uncapped Starship to Mars in 2027, and I think it's going to be a national project, and that's why Trump and Elon is going to cooperate at that time, I think, again, in my perspective. So let's see what's going to happen here. And my favorite topic I want to talk about, and I think it's the future. I don't think it's the future, it's the near future. It's like in 2030, it's quantum ML. Quantum machine learning is the next wave of AI, and quantum AI. There has been a lot of achievements regarding quantum AI and quantum ML. I think physicists solved 19 years old puzzle, quantum damped harmonic, etc. IBM and Google targeting 2030 for quantum computing. Deepo, pull that post up for IBM and Google targeting 2030 for quantum computing. Let's have a look on that one. So, as you can see, IBM and Google both say that they are on track to build the first full-scale quantum computer by 2030. With new advances and error correction and cheap scaling, they believe the machines could solve problems beyond the reach of today's supercomputers. I think NVIDIA just released a supercomputer, but this one is going to be the first fully quantum computing supercomputer by 2030 by Google and IBM. Also, there is a story, I think Joe Rogan posted this as well, that scientists went 1 second back in time in Russia using quantum computing. This is insane. They could go 1 second back. They could manipulate the laws of physics in the quantum realm using the quantum computing. So, Deepo, pull that video up for scientists went 1 second back in Russia. See, Russia is not behind. They're just not telling you guys. I think there was a cooperation on this one. Yes. Scientists, as you can see, Deepo, pull that picture post up. Scientists managed to go 1 second back in time using quantum computer. Yes, thank you. So scientists at Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology, in collaboration with the Zurich, Switzerland, and United States have successfully carried out one of the most astonishing quantum experiments in the history, using a quantum computer and a specialized algorithm to create conditions in which they briefly move backwards in time. They could manipulate time. They could manipulate the physical laws. Even 1 second is too much, man. This is too much. Imagine going backwards in time, manipulating the laws of physics. This is the power of quantum computing. This is the power that I always talk about. I recently came across a great interview. I think it was Lex Fridman and Demis Hassabis. And Demis talked about a lot of things. And one of the things that he talked about is that the future main energy sources will be nuclear and solar. AGI needs to have a full cognitive abilities and etc. But the one thing he talked about is that his opinion is different than mine. Demis Hassabis said, we haven't scratched the surface and the potential of classical computers for building biological models, let alone the quantum mechanics. He said, we haven't scratched the surface of classical computers. I think quantum mechanics is like away, like 10 years, 15 years. So Lex Fridman asked him a very important question, and he asked that, is consciousness, like how information feels, is a computation that can be modeled by classical computer, or it needs to be modeled by quantum mechanics? And Demis Hassabis said, I think he thinks that it's only classical computing that's going on in our brain, and there's no sign of quantum mechanics going on in our brain structure. In my opinion, quantum AI is the future. The near future. I think quantum AI, that's why I'm reading this book, by the way. Quantum Computing for Everyone by Chris Bernard. A very fundamental book. I highly recommend for you guys to go and do any course on quantum AI and using quantum mechanics. Study physics, study mathematics, study quantum AI, 3D printing. These are all the things that I always think about, like regarding the 3D printing and the dynamic startup from Larry Page and all these things. It's insane, mind-blowing. So the last thing here I want to talk about is the theory of us being a part of a bigger brain. So recently I came across a guy on IG from the comment sections who seems to be a monk who codes. And his idea of consciousness and simulations and the fact that space-time model is wrong. So there's an article by Dio Rejan. Dio, if you're watching this, thank you for sending me your article. Dio Rejan. Deepo, go to the article, The AI Race and Humanity's Identity Crisis. It's in Medium, from the article by Dio John. And as you can see, this article by Dio John is saying the race for AI by biological intelligence stuck in a civilizational identity crisis. It's an identity crisis. And it's a very interesting article to read about. But around this thing, I think one of his hypothesis was that, hey, space-time model is wrong. And you might ask, what is space-time model? Deepo, there's a picture that is comparing the space-time model with the other models, which I'm going to talk about. Please pull that up. So as you can see, space-time model is like a 4D model, and there are like we have like 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. And that's space model. But we have a model called cosmic web. Cosmic web suggests that the cosmic web suggests that the neural networks leading to like the universe, leading to the philosophical musings, like the universe might itself be a conscious of a brain. Like, so the whole universe might be in our brain, or maybe the whole universe is like a brain, it's like a neural network, and it's a cosmic web of a whole larger being. So this is a speculation. This is not a hypothesis or theory, but I mean, this is a very interesting speculations. This cosmic web model compared to the typical space-time model. So highly recommend to read this article as well. I've read it like, I think at 11 p.m. I was standing outside or reading this article, I was like, man, this is insane. I think it's very important to stay being updated and stay up and try to update yourself with these information and speculations as well. So now the first part of this podcast is finished, which was about all the things that we talked about. We talked about all the news. We analyzed all the news, and we went very deep and fast. Now we come across the philosophical part, which I want to spend like 10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes on. And it's from a book. It's basically the chapter 8 and 9 of this book that I love, by the way, from Alex Karp, The Technological Republic by Alex Karp, which is a great book. And I want to talk about this, flawed systems and the trend. So I've been talking about the Manhattan's Project and all these things and what Oppenheimer did, the atomic bomb and the atomic age, this urgency for national projects, and the founding of NASA to rival the Sputnik of Russia. And all these national projects and the collaboration and cooperation between the scientists and engineers and the governments back in 20th century was insane. It was great. One of the reasons why I love Theodore Roosevelt, because it was very cooperative and close to engineers and scientists. Like Einstein was one of his great friends. But what has happened? I think there was a crisis, like after the atomic bomb and atomic age, 1942, 1950s, I think the 1960s and onward, there was a crisis of authority. So people lost faith on government, institutions, corporations, universities. Why? Because of civil rights, the Vietnam protests, counterculture, black people, Middle Americans, and all these things led to people not trusting the government. And that's why 1960s onwards, there was a rise of hacker culture. People who wants libertarian society and democracy, which has nothing to do with government. And that was the trend after 1960 and 1970s onwards. And there is a quote from Stephen Levy, a journalist from 1984, who says, hackers are herps of the future. Deepo, if you can pull the picture up of a Stephen Levy standing beside Steve Jobs. As you can see here, that journalist who said hackers are herps of the futures, standing beside one of the most important founders of our time, Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs was a product of that consumerism culture, of that idea of being counter-government, of being producing something personal, like the idea of Macintosh and personal computers and all these things that happened was to counter the government's power of owning our data, our computers, and all these things. So personal computers came across after all these civil wars, or the Vietnam War happened, and all these black people not trusting the government, and all these things happened in 1960s. And that was the hacker culture's rise, and founders like Steve Jobs came across. Actually, there is an ad from Apple in 1984 which counters the IBM, which at that time was basically a government-tied institution. And that ad is very interesting. Deepo, pull that Apple ad from 1984. There's a lady smashing the window, like smashing the cinema window, and she's saying, hey, we're done with all these corporations and governments. We don't trust you. We want personal computers. And that was the rise of Macintosh and personal computers. Deepo, pull that What a genius. Great marketer, Steve Jobs. Deepo, pull that video of Apple ad in 1984. Let's have a look on this one.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. We have created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of vain contradictory thoughts. Our unification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth.
This is crazy.
We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion.
The ad is crazy.
We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Wow. That's it, Deepo. That's it. So, as you can see, the whole agenda and the ideology shifted from having collaboration and having national projects like Oppenheimer or NASA, rivaling other countries like Sputnik from Russia, to consumer products and consumer-based personal computers and not trusting the government. So there is a diagram, Deepo, from state MAGA projects to consumer tech that shows all these information, which I want to talk about here. Pull that diagram up, Deepo. It's in the first place of chapter 8, Flood Systems. Yes. As you can see the trend, the Manhattan Project and atomic bomb started in 1945, 1942, and it was under, I think, a Republican president. And then we have Apollo, moon landing and all these things under Nixon. Which was, sorry, I think atomic bomb was under, was it Republican or was it Democrat? Yeah, it was Democrat. So atomic bomb and the Manhattan projects went under a Democrat president in the USA. And then we have another national project, Apollo, moon landing in 1969 and the founding of NASA. And this was under Nixon as well. So this happened again. And then if we look at all these things in the upper part of this diagram, we can see the Stargate project, which is a national project, and it was delayed because they couldn't raise the money. SoftBank couldn't raise $500 billion, and Elon predicted this. But still, it's a national project and cooperation between companies and giants with the US government. But if we look in the yellowish part of this diagram, we can see the hackers rise after 1970s and 1960s. And the individual freedom and the Apple came and personal empowerment came. And then we had internet in 1990s and 2000s. And we have big tech under Obama. Trump in 2016, there wasn't any national projects. And under Biden, there wasn't any national project. There was call for AI safety, and Kamala Harris was joining Europe, probably because Biden was dead. But anyway, all I want to say is we only had, USA only had 3 national projects in the maybe last century. It was Manhattan, it was Apollo, and it's Stargate. So 2 of the most important national projects, the cooperation between state and the scientists and engineers, were before 1960s and 1970s. And there's a whole gap of consumerism, individualism, libertarian democracy, agenda and culture and distrust in government and the rise of bureaucracy. That's why we have all these consumer apps in the maybe last 40 years being produced, and we haven't maybe gone to moon again. Like, people ask, did we really go to moon? I say, yes, I think we really did. And people say, okay, why we're not going to moon again? Because there is no national urgency to go to moon. There is no national urgency to go to moon. There's no national rivalry or urgency to do any national projects. For AI, I think now it is, because Trump is doing a great job of collaborative approach of being able to have that collaboration to make the US the superpower and the AI leader in the world with engineers and scientists. Because who built the most powerful country in the world? Who builds that? I think scientists, engineers, startup founders, and entrepreneurs, not just legislators or pure politicians. That's my opinion. As you can see in this diagram, there are only 3 companies who actually, during the consumerism culture, dared to do B2G and trusted the government. It's Palantir after 9/11, 2001. It's Oracle, which had the first contract for CIA, and it's DARPA. So these 3 dared to do B2G models and dared to walk in the opposite direction of the trend at that time. And that's why I think those are very important. So this is the shift that we see. The flawed systems of government and corporations gave birth to Silicon Valley's anti-establishment culture, which empowered individuals like the way that PC and iPhone did, but eventually drifted into consumerist tech and short-term benefits for founders regarding, financial benefits, of course, I'm talking about. And that consumerism approach led to one of the biggest bubbles in history, which was the internet bubble in 1999. So, people, please pull that diagram up of the bubble, the bubble of internet 1999. As you can see, there's a takeoff, there's a mania phase, and of course, Nasdaq just crashed because VC had high expectations, and they were just blindly pouring money into internet. I think the same thing is going to happen here in short term, not long term, with AI bubble. Is going to burst, I think, in this month or maybe in the next 2 weeks, or maybe I'm just wrong, but I think this is going to happen because the expectations with the models, it was too high. It was too high, and the overpromising was too high. But in long run, it's a real deal, in my opinion. So, if I want to be honest, the misallocation of capital towards consumerism is very bad, and I think we have to have national projects, and we have to have corporations with the governments. Of course, you might ask, okay, what is the government's role here? I can't just trust government. Yes, they have to decrease bureaucracy. They have to give opportunities to founders the way that UK is giving now as a friendly AI hub for everyone to join. And I think it's going to be massive if it's a collaboration of government and private companies or giants in the tech AI or maybe quantum AI sector in the world. A national project is all, I think, is going to be all good for that society. Imagine if USA is the first one who sends Starship to Mars. As a US citizen, you have to be proud because that was a national project. Although it's going to be done by a private company like SpaceX, but still, I don't think Trump is going to hold back. I think Trump wants that. This is the last term of Trump's presidency, so he's going to go there and show up for that day that Elon in 19 or 20 February of 2027 is sending Starship. So this is the philosophical aspect of AI and tech I wanted to talk about here. And now we come to the last 5 minutes, which is the meme aspect of EP6. I want to see the memes. Let's look at the memes depot. Let's have a look and let's laugh. How I feel talking to ChatGPT. I said 100 words max. Make it sound human, simple words only. I didn't say do that. Exactly. You have to reason through your answers. You can't just get the answer you want like just by one shot from LLMs. Oh my god, this is so good. Like these ASMRs of, oh my god, this is so good. Let's have a look. Oh my god, this is so satisfying, man. These ASMRs are so good. These AI generated videos. I always look at these things at night. This is insane, man. Love these ASMRs. Okay. Wow. What is this one? This one is using tab for indentation, using spaces for indentation. The guy using semicolons for indentation. This is crazy. If you're not a tech guy, you probably don't understand this one. Oh, Kanye. When the teacher asks for your name, but ChatGPT is down. Kanye is good. Technical co-founders watching the CEO promise a feature that will take 4 months to build. Oh my god, this is crazy. Trump is good. Oh, this is the Oppenheimer system. Me showing a rich old man with dementia. Our family photos generated by AI, so he'll include me in his will. That's good. That's good.
What's up, you fucking law-abiding citizens? We just finished saving the damn planet, but we don't rest. Tell them, bats! It's fucking leg day! Bro, first time trying this shit and it got tweaked.
This is very good.
I squat a bus. Relax, you still can't outlift Diana. Bro, I'm natty. Save the whole damn...
4 more questions, right?
Okay.
Yes. No,
you're using ChatGPT free and you're only 4 prompts away from the upgrade.
Damn it. Only answer
so
when I
good.
talk to you. Okay? Yes. Why did you say okay at the end of that?
Wow. The memes are very good. I love watching memes here. That's good.
With me?
Wow.
Without me.
Yeah, I think that's a depot for today. Yeah, I want to make this a 2-hour episode, nearly 2 hour, which is very handy for everyone to watch and share your thoughts, your ideas. If you are someone who wants to be in my podcast, AI founder, or anyone who is in tech, AI, quantum, startup, or maybe space, or any field that you want to be in this podcast, you're more than welcome. My email is in description. You can just message me on IG or X. This is the 100th video of my YouTube channel, so I just want to say thank you to everyone who's watching and supporting me. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you leave a comment, share your ideas. No judgment is going to happen. And thank you for watching this podcast, and make sure to join the AI revolution and adapt yourself. Once again, the skill of rapid skill acquisition is the most important thing that you can have in this era. So, rapid skill of acquisition. See you later, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. We're living through the biggest tech AI revolution in history. Don't just observe it, be part of it. Subscribe my YouTube channel. Also follow me on Instagram to stay ahead.
Arshia on the grind, brain sharp like a blade. London nights, AI dreams never fade. Tech whiz got the world in fascination. Knuckles hit hard, no need for explanation. Boxing in the day, code runs by the night. 21 years young, future shining bright. YouTube blowing up, boozing innovation. AI kingpin, tech talk domination. Brains and brawn, that's his creed. Tirani's hustle, no time for greed.